And do I have the? I'm calling to order this hearing or roundtable. This is a public roundtable of the Committee of the Whole of the Council of the District of Columbia. I'm Phil Mendelson, Chair of the Council and Chair of the Committee of the Whole. Today is Friday, January 16, 2026. The time is 2:04 in the afternoon. This hearing is on, or roundtable is on 13 different nominations by the mayor for appointment to the Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants. I think it's great that the mayor sent down so many of these nominations so that the commission will be fully or nearly fully staffed in terms of membership. But it also means that I'm not going to read every single resolution title. Their PR proposed resolution, PRs number 26-460 through 472. And some of them are to appoint or reappoint Stephanie Fu, Sybil Davis, Matthew Hansen, Levi Ekman, Danielle Schmutz, Daniela Grigoni, Cambridge Worrell Smith, and Ricardo Cooper to the Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes to terms ending November 2026. Some of them are to appoint or reappoint Reginald Mathis, Leandro Traviso, Joanne Lamparter, and Janita Finley to the commission to terms ending in November 2028. I believe that Matthew Hansen and Joanne Lamparter are reappointments and the others are new appointments. The Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes is a public body composed of 21 government agency representatives and stakeholders to support equitable access to high-quality out-of-school time programs for district youth. The commission coordinates among government agencies, targets grant making, collects and evaluates data, and considers the provision of training, capacity building, and technical assistance to out-of-school time providers. The purpose of today's roundtable is to receive testimony from the nominees and to provide an opportunity to anyone else to provide testimony as to the fitness of these nominees for appointment or reappointment to the commission. The record in this matter will close at 5 p.m. on Friday, January 30th, 2026. What does that mean? It means that we will possibly move forward with these nominations at our February 3rd legislative meeting. I think it's February 3rd, the first Tuesday of February. But what it also means is that if anyone wishes to submit anything for the record, anyone who's testifying today or anyone else, the record will close. And it will close at 5 p.m. on Friday, January 30th. I'm going to reorder the witnesses a little bit. I understand a couple of people have time pressures. We are starting late. I think you all noticed that we had another hearing that went a little bit longer than we had thought. And I have 4 seats. So I think where I want to start, unless people are virtual.
Cambridge.
E- Oh, what?
Virtual.
Okay. Well, that's simple. Cambridge Worrell Smith and Stephanie Fu, I believe, are both virtual. I especially like folks who were here in person. Daniela Grigoni, if you could come forward to the table. Matthew Hansen, is he here? You were hiding. If you could come forward. Joanna Lumparter is virtual. So I can fit two more people. Sybil Davis and Reginald Mathis. I have these hearings on nominees, not all committees do, in part to provide an opportunity to see if there's any opposition. The public comes in and says, we think so-and-so is really horrible. That rarely happens, but to provide that opportunity, it's also an opportunity for what I think of as being some oversight of, in this case, the OST Commission, how it's doing, what challenges it has, but then also to just validate that each of you has the time to serve and the commitment and so forth. So that's kind of what this hearing or roundtable is about. Let's start with, I think I'll reward the folks who are here in person by going first. Even though this isn't quite the order I called in, Miss Sybil Davis, why don't you start? Microphone. Excellent.
Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the committee. My name is Sybil Davis, and it is my pleasure to receive your consideration for my nomination to serve on the Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes. I am grateful to Mayor Muriel E. Bowser for nominating me and honored to have the opportunity to serve the residents of our district. When I received this nomination, I smiled to myself with the thought that a perfect moment has occurred where hard work and experience have met an opportunity. And that, to me, is the definition of success. It is one of the lessons that I teach when mentoring my staff and students at Tutoring Cafe. My professional background as the executive director of the nonprofit organization Tutoring Cafe has a foundation in education, nutrition, and technology development. Through my service to the organization, I have implemented programs focused on evidence-based youth outcomes for academic tutoring, STEM programs, social emotional learning, fitness, and sports. I work closely with district youth, families, schools, community-based organizations, and stakeholders to implement the success of our nonprofit mission statement. Each year, our program has produced valedictorians from the schools we serve. Data during my tenure demonstrates an increase in student academic performance rates and a decrease in chronic absenteeism and in-school suspensions. Parent engagement has increased to 98%, and our enrollment rate more than doubled in these past 2 years of serving DCPS and charter school students. Tutoring Cafe impactfully supports youth across all wards of the district through our year-round out-of-school time programs, along with our nutritional food bank initiative. A hallmark moment for me regarding the critical nexus between nutritious food and academic success occurred during an after-school program session in which my student, a little girl in the first grade, was eating uncooked ramen noodles that a friend had given her. While licking the salt packet, she explained to me that there was nothing to eat at home. She often cried during programming and was unable to sit long enough to receive assistance with her homework. This experience gave me a deep awareness of the importance of providing access to resources like nutritious food during out-of-school time programs to positively impact young people, particularly those from underserved communities. As a native Washingtonian with over 25 years of experience in serving youth, in addition to my tenure at Tutoring Cafe, I have acquired the knowledge and skills to be a strong asset for the Commission on out-of-school time grants and youth outcomes. My training has included certification workshops with the Institute for Youth Development and conferences such as Beyond School Hours and OSSI's Summer Symposium, where I developed meaningful connections with industry professionals that shared a national view on improving program results. In addition, I have received praise for top-level analytical findings by a researcher who held positions at the David P. Weichert Center for Youth Program Quality during our annual Program Quality Assessment, YPQA, evaluation. Tutoring Cafe's Board of Directors has awarded me for outstanding service to the community. Lastly, my dedication to advocating for youth has allowed me to present at combined federal campaign CFC events and the CFC Speakers Bureau with an audience of thousands of government officials in the Pentagon and the Health Resources and Services Administration, or HRSA. Volunteering on the commission further supports my ongoing commitment to providing district youth with access to high quality, equitable, out-of-school time opportunities that support their academic success, social emotional development, and long-term outcomes. I am motivated to bring my professional expertise as the Director of Tutoring Cafe, an OST, MADC, and 21st Century Community Learning Center grantee, OST Strategic Planning Committee member, district resident, mother of youth enrolled in DCPS, along with a spirit of unwavering dedication to youth outcomes, to the Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes. In understanding both the operational side of youth serving programs and the broader systems that influence youth success, my vision is for the Commission to serve as a bridge that connects schools, community-based organizations, families, and policymakers for the greater good of our district's youth. As a committee member, I would like to spearhead an initiative that partners with local sponsors to provide take-home meals or groceries for students of OST grantees where food insecurity is identified as a barrier to participation. This initiative ensures youth are physically able to engage and alleviates the social emotional outcomes associated with hunger and stress, aligning with equity, access, and youth outcome goals. I would also prioritize youth voices, motivate teachers, and welcome parents to become a part of academic engagement through celebration. This could include initiating an academic scholar Olympics for OST youth, utilizing the district's pioneering business proprietors to present certificates and awards, keeping students interested in their own performance and academic achievements. This program presents a structured out-of-school time enrichment initiative that uses academic competition to motivate learning, increase student engagement, and produces measurable academic and social emotional outcomes. Connecting children at an early age to reward-driven behaviors and acknowledging what makes them great is nurturing and becomes an architect of their emotional and cognitive blueprint. Moving forward, I aim to contribute to this commission by elevating the voices of communities most affected by the OST investments. I am motivated to help ensure that out-of-school time programming in the district continues to evolve in ways that truly meet the needs of our young people. Volunteering on this committee is meaningful for helping shape policies and funding decisions that directly impact youth outcomes while leading the way for our district youth, my staff, and students to challenge themselves into success. Thank you, Chairman Mendelson, for the opportunity to testify before this committee. I would be happy to answer any questions from you or the members of the committee.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Reginald Mathis.
Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the committee. Thank you for holding today's hearing and for the opportunity to appear before you. I would like to thank Mayor Muriel Bowser for her nomination to serve as a board member on the Commission of Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes. My name is Reginald Mathis. I have been a resident of the District of Columbia for 35 years. Washington, D.C. is not just where I work, it's my home. It's where I've spent my career and dedicated my community life focused on supporting children, families, and underserved communities. I currently serve as a student enrollment specialist, a role that places me at the intersection of education and access, family engagement, and student success. In this position, I work directly with families, many of whom face economic, social, and systemic barriers, to ensure students are connected to quality educational opportunities and supportive services. I also hold a certification in early childhood development from the George Washington University, which has strengthened my understanding of child development, learning outcomes, and important early and continuous support for young people, both inside and outside the classroom. Beyond my professional work, I have been deeply engaged in community service throughout the district. I have organized, supported coat drives, toy drives, and food drives, and I have consistently worked with organizations and neighbors to uplift underserved communities and at-risk youth. These experiences have grounded my professional work in real, lived community needs and outcomes. I am seeking to serve on the commission because I strongly believe that out of school time programming is one of the most effective tools the district has to close opportunity gaps, improve youth outcomes, and support working families. My professional background in student enrollment allows me to see firsthand how access or lack of access to quality programs affect academic achievement, attendance, social emotional development, and long-term stability. Out of school time programs are often the difference between a student thriving or falling behind. I am particularly passionate about ensuring that the district investment reaches the youth and neighborhoods with the greatest needs, and that the funded programs are not only well-intentioned, but measurable, fair, and impactful. My experience working directly with families gives me insight into that work on the ground, where gaps exist and how systems can unintentionally exclude all those they are meant to serve. I believe my combination of education expertise, enrollment and system experience, and longstanding community involvement in DC positions me well to contribute meaningfully to this commission. I understand both the policy intent behind grant making and the practical realities faced by providers, families, and youth. If confirmed, my vision for the commission is one which out of school time funding is strategic, transparent, equitable, and outcomes driven, while remaining responsive to community voice. First, I will prioritize equitable access. This includes ensuring that grant funding reaches organizations serving at-risk youth, underserved neighborhoods, and families who may face barriers related to income, language, transportation, or system navigation. Equity should not only be a stated value, but a measurable outcome in our funded decision. Second, I will support strengthening youth outcomes and accountability. This means aligning grant criteria and evaluation measures with meaningful indicators such as academic support, social emotional growth, workforce readiness, and youth engagement. Programs should be supported not just to operate, but to demonstrate impact and continuous improvement. Third, I will work to elevate provider capacity and sustainability. Many community-based organizations doing critical work operate with limited resources. I believe the commission can play a role in encouraging technical assistance, collaboration, and capacity building so providers can deliver high-quality programming and remain sustainable long-term. I also believe it's important to build on what's already working. The district has many strong out-of-school time programs and committed providers. The commission should continue to support proven models while encouraging innovation and data-informed decision-making. Finally, I'm committed to collaboration and transparency. I would approach this role as a partner to fellow commissioners, district agencies, providers, families, and youth themselves alike. Listening to community voices and maintaining open communication will be critical to advancing the goals set forth in this commission's legislation. In closing, I'm honored to be considered for this role and fully understand the responsibility that comes with serving on this commission. I'm committed to dedicating the time, thought, and integrity required to support the district's youth and family. Thank you again to the committee and to Mayor Bowser for this opportunity. I look forward to answering any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Mathis. Matthew Hansen?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the committee. My name is Matthew Hampson, and I appreciate the opportunity to testify today regarding my renomination to serve on the Commission of Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes. I thank the mayor for renominating me to continue to serve in this capacity. I currently serve as Chief of External Affairs at DC Action, an organization that uses research, data, and a racial equity lens to break down barriers that prevent all children from reaching their full potential. In this role, I support our collaborative advocacy efforts that bring together community members, service providers, and young people to drive systems-level change, including strengthening the district's out-of-school time ecosystem. I've worked on a wide range of local policy and advocacy issues in the district for more than a decade, with a particular focus on advancing equity for children, youth, and working families. Out-of-school time programming in particular is important to me. Early in my career, from 2005 to 2007, I served as an AmeriCorps member here in Washington, D.C., working in dozens of schools and witnessing firsthand the critical role that high-quality out-of-school time programming plays in supporting a young person's academic success, social development, and overall well-being. Together, these professional experiences have shaped my long-standing commitment to advancing policies and systems that center the needs of children and working families. This work is also deeply personal to me as the parent of a 7-year-old child. I see every day, both during the school year and summer months, how important it is for children to have access to high-quality programs and qualified staff who can support their growth and development. These experiences have further motivated my commitment to this work and reinforce the importance that every family in the district should have a fair shot when it comes to these opportunities. In my professional capacity at DC Action, we play a central role in strengthening the district's out-of-school time infrastructure, including but not limited to defending funding for programs and helping develop and advance legislation aimed at expanding access to programs with an equity-first focus. Through our facilitation of the DC Out-of-School Time Coalition, we have supported dozens of providers and advocates in shaping policy priorities, elevating shared challenges, and advancing a coordinated vision for out-of-school time that reflects the needs of young people, families, and communities across all 8 wards in the district. Our team works intentionally to ensure that providers, program staff, young people, and families all have a meaningful voice in shaping this future. And I try to reflect their work and these values in my experience as a member of the commission. It would be an honor to continue to serve on the commission. In my current role, I also serve as the chair of the Coordination and Collaboration Committee, working closely with the Office of Out-of-School Time providers and fellow commissioners to advance the priorities outlined in the commission's strategic plan. This includes implementing alignment across systems, strengthening communication, and promoting collaboration that supports more effective and equitable delivery of out-of-school time services and programs in the district. Through this work, I've developed a better understanding of both the opportunities and challenges facing programs, as well as the importance of coordinated decision-making and transparent processes. If confirmed for another term, I will continue to bring to the Commission a collaborative approach. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson. Ms. Frugoni?
Yes. Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the committee and staff. My name is Daniela Grigioni, and it is my pleasure to be nominated to continue my service on the Commission of Out-of-School Time and Youth Outcomes. I am truly thankful for this consideration. I want to thank you for the opportunity to testify before you today and to thank Mayor Bowser for nominating me. I am honored to have this opportunity to continue to serve the residents of our district. For the past 10 years, I have been the executive director at After School Starts, an educational nonprofit organization that brings free after-school services to middle school students, in particular in the most under-resourced areas of the city. We work with our all-star students in 6 schools every day from 3:16 to 6, and we deliver both academic support and a very, very enrichment portfolio. Working with students in DC is something that I truly love, and I live every day. Accordingly, I have dedicated to the district young people and myself to the district young people that I have been involved with the DC education and after school sector for many years. I have volunteered with groups that worked with or advised out of school time services. I have worked with DC public schools and DC government since 1995. Starting at what was then the Office of Bilingual Education, then as a project manager for a comprehensive grant that supported bilingual families in several elementary schools, and then as a project manager in a public charter school, and finally, I joined the central office in DC Public School as the manager of external relations. Here in that position, I was actively placing after-school service providers in schools in response to the need of the schools and the communities. That particular work, or this cumulative work, granted me a deep understanding of the funding supporting out-of-school time programming, the operation needed, the collaboration needed, as well as a deep understanding of the needs for this program in the district and in critical areas in the district. An understanding of the characteristic of each ward, of schools and communities, and especially of how providers can contribute to youth development when delivering high-quality programs that complement the school day. I would also like to tell you a little bit how I came to this work and found my passion. I come from Italy. I married an American man, and I moved to DC with 2 young children, soon to be 3. When it was time to transition to middle school from our elementary school, I realized that there was much more. I was still, pretty brand new. I realized that there was much more to the city than my little community in Ward 3, and that opportunities were not equally distributed for young people. I started volunteering and chairing PTAs and homeschool associations to make a difference where my children were. That idea never left me, and the desire to provide equal opportunity from children is still with me after all these years. When working at DC Public School, I was part of the conversation that created the framework of partnership between schools and nonprofit providers that we see today. I represented the CPS when city agency convened at the Wilson Building a long time ago to discuss the needs of programming beyond the bell, after the bell. I was part of the group that worked on the legislation underpinning the operation of the Office of Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes. And once that office was established, I continued cooperating with the first executive director, Myla Yocum. Also, I continue serving on the collaboration and cooperation committee with Matt, one of the committees that support the commission work. And finally, lately, I volunteered to assist with the development of the new 3-year strategic plan for the out-of-school time programming in the city under the guidance of Dr. Lowe. I would be honored to continue my involvement with the Commission representing the provider sector. I believe that nonprofit providers are a positive force in the district to deliver vital programming to the most under-resourced children. I believe that all children have infinite potential, but they face too often institutionalized barrier that doesn't allow them to reach that potential. I also believe that every child deserves all those educational, extracurricular, and formative opportunities, both during and after school, that support their growth and success for a brighter future. This work is important to me. Fostering the development and success of the youth in the city is important to me today, like it was in 1995. I would love to continue the work to create a welcoming, high-quality, extended learning out-of-school environment for all children, regardless of where they come from, where they live, and what abilities they have. Access and equity are the issue, and that's where my passion really, lies, are the targets. Because of this belief, I am humbled and excited that I was nominated. I'm thankful for the opportunity to testify before you today. Again, thank you, and I would be happy to respond to any question you might have.
Thank you. You said, are you on the commission now, or it's just you're on a committee of the commission?
I'm just on a committee. Yeah.
I will have some more questions. Let me see. Cambridge Worrell Smith, who's online.
Hello, yes.
Please proceed.
Okay.
I believe you're muted. If you read the entire
Oh,
statement.
I'm so
that-
sorry. Okay.
If you read the entire statement, which is 3 pages, it could be like 6, 7 minutes. So feel free if you want to skip a paragraph or two.
Okay. Good morning, Chairman, members of the committee, and thank you for the opportunity to testify today. I am grateful to the council for considering me, and I would like to sincerely thank Mayor Bowser for nominating me to serve on the District of Columbia Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes. My name is Cambridge Worrell Smith, and I am a proud Ward 5 resident of Washington, D.C. I am currently an 11th grade student and a graduate of Oyster Adams Bilingual School, a DCPS school located in Ward 1 that centers multilingualism, cultural competency, and inclusive learning as core educational values. Through DCPS's bilingual education model, I experienced firsthand how learning extends beyond the school day and how high-quality out-of-school time programs can reinforce academic growth, language acquisition, social emotional development, and student confidence, particularly for youth from diverse cultural and linguistic backgrounds. Living in both Ward 5 and 8 and attending school in Ward 1 at Oyster Adams, I have seen firsthand how disparities in access to and utilization of district-sponsored youth programming vary across all 8 wards and directly shape young people's opportunities. These lived experiences have given me a clear understanding of how geography, awareness, transportation, and resourcing influence whether young people are able to participate in programs designed to support them. I am fluent in Spanish, conversational in Mandarin, and deeply engaged in community and civic issues affecting district youth. My academic and leadership journey has been further enriched through global experiences, including a student exchange and participation in an environmental sustainability exchange program in Costa Rica. These experiences reinforced my belief that culturally responsive education and youth are essential to positive youth outcomes. In addition to my academic experiences, I am a member of MICFA Youth Council DC, where I collaborate with peers to engage policymakers, analyze legislation, and elevate youth perspectives in district decision-making. I am also a member of the Safety and Justice Council, which partners with the Office of the Attorney General for the District of Columbia to address issues impacting youth and community well-being, including truancy, restorative justice, and community safety. Through this work, I have gained insight into how prevention, accountability, and support systems intersect on how out of the school time programming can play a critical role in keeping young people engaged and supported. Additionally, I am a member of DC Stop and Fight Exploitation for Everyone, SAFE, a youth-led council guided by experts on child sex trafficking, where members engage in research and education focused on understanding the realities of child sex trafficking and identifying risk factors that place young people in vulnerable situations. Using what we learn, we design and implement projects aimed at increasing youth awareness, prevention, and safety, and empowering young people with information and tools to help them avoid exploitation. This work has further reinforced for me the importance of trusted adults, safe spaces, and well-instructed out-of-school programs as protective factors for youth. I have also pursued civic engagement through internships with Office of the Attorney General for the District of Columbia and the Office of Senator Edward Markey, and I serve as a docent of the Youth Ambassador at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. Together, these experiences have shaped my commitment to public service, equity, and youth advocacy. I am deeply passionate about ensuring that all district youth, regardless of ward, income, language background, or school, have equitable access to high quality, engaging, and developmentally meaningful out-of-school time opportunities. As a DCPS educated student and an active participant in youth leadership, justice, and prevention-focused spaces, I bring a lived and current perspective that is directly relevant to this commission's work. I understand how out-of-school time programs function on the ground, not just in theory, but in practice, and how barriers such as transportation, language access, program awareness, and neighborhood level inequities can limit participation. My background matters for this board because I have experienced both the benefits of strong OST programming and the consequences when access is inconsistent. Through my work with MICFA Youth Council DC, the Safety and Justice Council, and DC Safe, I have seen how youth voice, restorative approaches, and prevention-focused education can influence outcomes to school engagement, attendance, safety, and well-being. I believe youth outcomes improve when programs are designed with youth, not just for youth. I bring academic discipline, cultural competency, policy exposure, and firsthand experience navigating district youth systems across multiple wards. I'm committed to listening to providers, families, and young people, and to ensure that the voices of those most impacted are reflected in the Commission's work. If confirmed, my vision for the Commission is one where the district's out-of-school time ecosystem is fully aligned around equity, quality, and youth-driven outcomes. I view this commission as a critical bridge between policy funding and lived experience, and I am committed to strengthening that connection. I will also support data-informed decision-making that captures the full scope of youth development. While academic outcomes are important, I will also advocate for metrics that reflect social emotional growth, leadership development, restorative practices, prevention education, cultural affirmation, and a sense of belonging outcomes that out of school time programs are uniquely positioned to support and that directly contribute to youth safety and well-being. In closing, I am honored to be considered for the service on the Commission on Out of School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes as an 11th grade student shaped by DCPS, out of school learning, and a youth leadership in policy, justice, and prevention spaces. I am deeply invested in ensuring that district youth have equitable access to opportunities that allow them to thrive academically, socially, and safely. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and your consideration. I look forward to the opportunity to serve. I'd be happy to respond from questions from you and the members of the committee.
Thank you, Ms. Worrell-Smith. Stephanie Fu.
Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the committee. My name is Stephanie Fu, and I'm a resident of Ward 8. It is my pleasure to receive your consideration for my nomination to serve on the Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes. I'm especially grateful to Mayor Muriel Bowser for nominating me and honored to have this opportunity to serve the residents of our district. I believe I bring a diverse hands-on background in education that spans instruction with leadership and youth development. I have worked as a classroom teacher, and I am currently a director of extended day, overseeing out-of-school time programming, staff supervision, and family engagement. My experience as an applied behavior analyst therapist strengthened my skills in behavior support, individualized learning, and data-informed practice. I have also coached girls basketball and co-ed flag football, using sports to build teamwork, discipline, and confidence. As the director of Fluent Futures Summer Camp, I design and manage enrichment programs that integrate literacy, language, and social-emotional learning, ensuring high-quality, engaging experiences for youth across all age groups. My background is highly relevant to service on the Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes because it reflects deep, hands-on experience across the full spectrum of out-of-school time programming. As a teacher and director of Extended Day, I understand program design, staffing, compliance, and family engagement. My work as an ABA therapist informs equitable, trauma-responsive practices that supports diverse learners. Coaching youth sports has strengthened my approach to mentorship, teamwork, and youth development. As a summer camp director, I have managed budgets, partnerships, and outcomes, providing practical insight into what effective, sustainable OST programs need to succeed. Moving forward, DC's youth need coordinated, well-resourced out-of-school time opportunities that are informed by both data and lived experience. As a lifelong DC resident, a current employee serving youth and families, and someone who personally benefited from after-school programs growing up in this city, I bring a uniquely grounded perspective to the Commission on out-of-school time grants and youth outcomes. I understand firsthand how OST programs provide safety, enrichment, and stability, and how gaps in access can widen inequities. My professional expertise allows me to evaluate programs with practical insight, while my lived experience ensures funding decisions remain rooted in the real needs of DC youth and families as the city moves forward. I thank you to Chairman Mendelson for the opportunity to testify today before this committee. I would be happy to respond to any questions that you guys may have.
Thank you, Ms. Fu. Joanna Lamparter.
Good afternoon, Chairman Phil Mendelson and members of the committee. I am Joanne Lamparter, and it's my pleasure to testify today on my nomination to continue to serve on the Commission of Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes. I'm grateful to Mayor Muriel Bowser for nominating me, and honored to have this opportunity to serve the residents of our district. I have been an arts educator for the last 20 years and a DC resident for the past 18 years. My interest in continuing my service on the commission stems from my own personal experience with out-of-school time programs as a young person and the impact they had on my emotional well-being and my career. When I was a teen struggling to fit in with my own mental health challenges, I found my niche in an after-school drama group. It wasn't just any after-school program. It was one with half hearing students and half deaf students. We created a theater piece to be performed for younger students. What was powerful about this experience is it's one that bridged language and cultural divides, one that provided an outlet for me to show up with my full self, to use creative expression, and develop friendships and meet adult mentors that set me up with a new way to see the world. This is the power of out-of-school time programming. That experience led me to my career. I'm currently the Chief Artistic Programming Officer at Imagination Stage. We are an organization dedicated to providing all children with access to arts education. We are incorporated in DC and currently run out-of-school time programs at a number of schools in the district, as well as program through the DC Police Foundation with MPD's Youth Division, where we use theater as a tool to bridge cultural divides between officers and youth. In addition to my experiences working in all 8 wards of the city, I'm passionate about accessibility, something for which Imagination Stage is proud to be known for. Our theater programming for youth with cognitive disabilities has been recognized by the National Endowment for the Arts, and our programming with the deaf and hard of hearing young people has expanded thanks to the partnership we have with the BSA and Kennedy Center. I believe every child has the right to participate in programming such as arts, sports, wellness, and more outside of school so that they're able to gain mentors, find their passion and creativity, and have safe and healthy outlets to be able to succeed. Regardless of ability, financial status, and what ward someone lives in, these are basic rights of the children of DC. High quality after school programming means safer communities. And as a resident of DC, as a parent of a current pre-K4 student at Tacoma Elementary in DCPS, and as a youth advocate and educator, I'm passionate about giving back to the city, and I bring my full breadth of experiences alongside my passion to the commission, as I have for the last 2 years. I plan to continue to bring an artist's voice to the table, my knowledge of programming for and with youth with disabilities and the deaf of hard of hearing community, and I bring a parent's perspective. Thank you for your consideration and the opportunity to testify. I welcome any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Thank you, each of you, for your testimony. So I have a few questions. I'm going to start with you, Ms. Lamparter. So you are up for reappointment.
Correct.
That means you've been on the commission.
Yes.
I'm assuming you've enjoyed being on the commission since you're agreeing to be reappointed.
Yes,
How much time does it take?
that's a great question. The time it takes, so approximately, I'm on the Funding and Capacity Committee. So that committee meets for about an hour to 2 hours a month. And for part of that time, I served as a co-chair. I'm currently a committee member, so there's prep time and some reading time and thought time involved in that. So I would say a total of 4 hours there, plus the time in the meetings, which is approximately 2 hours about every other month. So 5 hours a month.
Yeah, that's kind of cheating. It's more like 6 hours one month and 4 hours the next, right? If it's every other
Yes.
month?
Yes, so
Okay.
I did an average for you.
Yes, no, I understand. And I'm just giving you a hard time. So it's about, but that, much of that is because you're on this committee.
Yes, but as a commission member, you are expected to serve on a committee.
Okay.
And then you represent that committee when you go to the commission meetings.
You represent the committee as the chair of the committee.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So about 4 hours or 6 hours, depending. I'm going to ask the same question to Mr. Hanson because you're up for reappointment.
Yes,
And I'm assuming you've enjoyed it
it's been the most.
the most. Okay, I won't ask you to finish that sentence. And about how much time do you spend?
4 hours 1 month, 6 hours the next month, average about 5 hours a month.
So about the same.
Yeah.
So that set up for this next question for everyone. Whether you have the time to serve and commit to the time to serve. And I'll just go in order, the witness order. Ms. Worrell Smith
Hello again. Yes, I do have the time to serve and I do commit to serving.
and Ms. Fu.
Absolutely. I've spoke with several members who have already served in this committee, and I believe I do have the time to serve.
And Ms. Davis.
Yes, Chairman Mendelson, I do have the time to serve. Yes.
You say that with enthusiasm, eyes wide open, and Mr. Mathis.
Yes, I do have the time to serve.
And Mr. Hanson. And Ms. Lamparter
Yes, I do.
and Ms. I want to say Grigoni, but I think you pronounced it more correctly.
It would be Grigioni, yes, but absolutely fine. Yes, absolutely. I have the time to serve.
Great. And we submitted pre-hearing questions to all of you and you all got back, but I always ask this question at the hearing as well. Do you have any outstanding liability for taxes, fees, or other payments to the district, federal or other state or local governments? Maybe I'll go in reverse order. Ms. Gugioni
No, I don't.
and Ms. Lamparter
I do not.
and Mr. Hanson? Mr. Mathis?
Not outstanding.
Ms. Davis?
No, sir.
Ms. Fu?
No,
And Ms. Worrell Smith?
I'm 16, so that would be pretty concerning. No.
We're not getting taxes from you yet?
Unfortunately, no.
Unfortunately, that sounds like an eager taxpayer. And then I also asked this question. I don't know if there are conflicts of interest. Maybe I'll ask the two who are up for reappointment. Mr. Hanson, have you ever seen where there could be a conflict of interest on the commission? Microphone.
I can't think of anything that comes to mind. I mean, it's not like we review individual grant applications or anything like that. So I don't think so.
Ms. Lamparter, do you have any, do you agree with that? Any disagreement with that? That there's really not been a conflict, situation for conflict of interest?
I would agree with what Mr. Hanson said. There's not been a
Okay.
conflict of interest.
So maybe I won't ask the question, but I'll just say that if there ever does seem to be a conflict of interest, the proper procedure is to disclose it. Ask, I would say, staff of the commission whether you should recuse yourself and to recuse. I just have a couple other, maybe just one other question. It's for you, Mr. Hanson and Ms. Lamparter, since you're returning. What challenges do you see with the commission, if any? I'll start with Mr. Hanson.
I think one of the challenges that I have seen that it feels like we are finally addressing is that we have not had enough commissioners on the commission. And so I think this recent slate of appointments or nominations will get us much further to where we want to be, to having a wider, broader array of community voices, not just agency officials on the commission. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me. I think the commission staff have been working incredibly hard and very diligently to try to move us along. So I appreciate them. And I know that the office in the last year has made real efforts to hire and recruit staff. So that seems to have been a good step in the right direction.
Ms. Lamparter, would you add to that challenges that you see with the commission?
Yes, I think one of the original challenges I saw was a bit of not clarity between the role of the commission versus the role of staff involved. And since then, over the past year, that's been really well defined. Expectations of commissioners has been incredibly defined. A handbook has been created. So I would say, and then seeing obviously this large amount of nominations shows a real dedication for this commission to have expectations clear of what's expected, as well as a group that can really work together in moving ideas forward.
Has the commission, so I guess it's been understaffed is the wrong word, but of the members, do they get along pretty well? Do they work well together, Ms. Lamparter?
Yes, I would say so. When I was in this roundtable a couple of years ago, it was described that perhaps that wasn't the case, but that has not been my experience at all. And I was also described that the meetings went on for hours on end, and I would have to disagree. I think they're pretty well run and organized, and there's some pretty clear protocols, and there's a diverse group of people with a mix of backgrounds, so it's been really productive. But I have not experienced conflict.
Mr. Hanson?
I find it to be a constructive commission. I haven't experienced any real conflict. I think that we sometimes have very constructive engagement. We're in the process of working on our revised strategic plan, and there have been, I think, productive and fruitful discussions and debates about what should go into the strategic plan, how specific we should be or can be in it. But I have not experienced any conflict on the commission.
And I asked a question because I have seen some boards or commissions where folks aren't getting along, and I think working well together is important. And the idea here, especially with 21 members, is that there are a variety of perspectives, and that's great as long as everyone is working well together. Ms. Grigioni, I could have asked you the same question. So you haven't been on the commission, but you've been active with one of the committees.
Yes.
So any observations you have with regard to challenges or however well everyone's getting along?
No challenges, no personal conflicts or challenges. Sometimes, vivacious conversation, but I'm Italian, No, but joking aside, conversations and discussions are good, they bring new ideas. But it has been really a pleasant work for me, and I'm very passionate about that particular work.
Yeah.
Collaboration of agency to access, for better access and equitable distribution of services. So for me, it's been really positive.
Great. Give me just a second. I don't have any other questions for you all. So you all are excused, and those of you online are excused, and I'm going to call the remaining, I think it's 5 witnesses. That earlier. Leandro Treviso, Levi Ekman, Janita Finley, Danielle Schmutz, and Ricardo Cooper. So we'll start with Leandro Treviso. Did I get that close to right?
Travieso, but close enough.
Okay, please proceed.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Mendelson and members of the committee. My name is Leandro Travieso, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to testify today in support of my appointment to the Commission of Out-of-School Time, or OST. I want to thank Mayor Muriel Bowser for this nomination and for the opportunity to serve district residents in a role that aligns closely with my professional experience and my commitment to the young people in DC. I'm honored to be considered because I believe the district can continue building an OST system that families understand, trust, and can access, and that providers can sustain with quality. In my current work with Liberty's Promise, I design and run after-school civic engagement programming for recent and first-generation immigrant students at Jackson Reed High School. And I see every week how strong out-of-school time experiences can shape a student's confidence, sense of belonging, and readiness for what comes next. I also see how easily young people can miss out when systems are fragmented, when communication doesn't reach families in the right way, and when logistical barriers like transportation and scheduling quietly becomes barriers to participation. I am committed to helping the district address those challenges through practical coordination and strategy that stays connected to real life and will bring that dedication to the commission. One of the main ways I hope to contribute is through the strategic planning process for fiscal year 27 to 29. I'm eager to continue supporting Dr. Lowe and other staff as chair of the Outcomes and Needs Assessment Committee during the process that is ambitious, measurable, and implementable, not simply a document, but a shared roadmap that strengthens alignment across agency, school, and community-based partners. From my perspective as a youth serving practitioner, I can help ensure the plan reflects what actually drives participation and outcomes, such as consistent relationship with trusted adults, programming that feels relevant to young people, strong school and community partnerships, and a clear approach to measure outcomes without placing unnecessary burdens on providers. I also want the fiscal year 27 to 29 plan to help the OST ecosystem feel coherent to families, so opportunities are easier to find, easier to access, and easier to sustain over time. My perspective on how to support youth in the district was shaped by my earlier role as a youth mentor with City Year, Washington, D.C. From 2016 to 2017, I served at Johnson Middle School, where I supported sixth grade students and ensured they were on track to move to the next grade level by improving their reading, writing, and other academic skills. As partners of Johnson Middle School, my colleagues and I work closely with school staff to strengthen students' engagement and success during and after school. That experience reinforced how important OST support can be, especially when aligned with what students and educators navigate during the school day. Then from 2017 to 2019, I served as Youth Development Specialist with the United States Peace Corps in Morocco, where effective youth programming depended on trust, cultural responsiveness, and deep partnership with local stakeholders. That experience shaped my approach to youth development. Start by listening, design with community context at the center, and build systems that are sustainable beyond a single person or short-term effort. A key area where I believe my Liberty's Promise experience can add value is strengthening the relationship between OST programs and DC Hispanic community. I've learned that access is not only about whether programs exist, it's about whether families receive information in a language and format that is truly usable, whether outreach comes through trusted channels, and whether enrollment process and program expectations feel transparent and welcoming. As a commissioner, I will bring forward recommendations that strengthen language access and cultural responsive family engagement, elevate outreach practices that already work in community contexts, and reduce friction in the ways families learn about, enroll in, and stay connected to OST opportunities. Done well, this is not simply quote unquote communication, it is relationship building, and it is essential to equity. Finally, I believe the Commission can improve by tightening the feedback loop between community experience and commission action. People are more likely to trust public systems when they can see how their voices shape decisions. The OST Commission can strengthen its impact by creating consistent ways to hear from youth, families, and frontline staff, and then communicating clearly what was learned and how it informed priorities and recommendations. The most effective public bodies pair high standards with real support, and I will work to ensure the Commission's work continues to drive quality improvement through shared accountability and meaningful collaboration. Again, I want to thank Chairperson Mendelson and members of the committee for the opportunity to testify in front of you. I will be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Travieso, you're not currently on the commission.
No, I'm a chair in the Outcomes and Needs Assessment Committee.
So you have some familiarity because you're active with one of the committees.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Levi Ekman.
Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the committee. Thank you for holding today's hearing and for the opportunity to testify. I am grateful to Mayor Bowser for her nomination, and I appreciate the work of the Office of Talent and Appointments in guiding nominees through this process. My name is Levi Ekman, and I live and work in Washington, D.C. I'm an educator and nonprofit leader whose work sits at the intersection of classroom instruction, community-based programming, and youth-focused policy. I currently serve as an instructor at Maya Angelou Public Charter School, where I teach senior English and street law. In the classroom, I work with students who are preparing to graduate, navigate adulthood, and understand their rights, responsibilities, and place in our city. Much of that work extends beyond the traditional school day, as students often need structured, safe, and affirming spaces after hours to stay both engaged and on track. In addition to my teaching role, I serve as conference director for the See Forever Foundation, where I lead the foundation's annual convening From Silos to Solutions. This three-day convening brings together educators, youth-serving organizations, policymakers, advocates, and community leaders from across the district and the country to focus on supporting opportunity and justice-involved youth. In this role, I work closely with organizations that provide out-of-school time programming and related supports and see firsthand how OST programs function as essential infrastructure for young people and their families. I also have experience serving as a grant administrator, overseeing funding processes, implementation, and accountability in youth-focused initiatives. That experience has given me a practical understanding of how district priorities, funding timelines, and reporting requirements directly affect program quality, staffing stability, and access for young people. My academic background is in law and public policy. I earned my Juris Doctorate from the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth School of Law with a focus on civil rights and international law. And I completed extensive pro bono legal service working with vulnerable populations. While my legal training informs how I approach systems and accountability, my commitment to this work is grounded in daily and direct engagement with young people here in Washington, D.C. I'm seeking to serve on the Out of School Time Commission because I believe deeply in the role OST plays in youth development and community stability. For many of the students that I teach and the families that I work with, the hours outside the school day are not supplemental, they're critical. Out-of-school time programs provide academic support, mentorship, safety, and belonging, particularly for young people who are navigating systemic barriers. My background matters for this commission because I approach OST from both the practitioner and policy perspectives. I see how programs succeed when funding is consistent, expectations are clear, and providers are treated as partners. I also see where gaps exist when systems are fragmented or when evaluation measures do not fully capture the realities facing youth and program staff. I bring to this role an understanding of how decisions made at the commission level will translate into real experiences for students and their families. Looking ahead, my vision for the Out of School Time Commission is one that continues to prioritize equity, access, and sustainability. If confirmed, I would focus on supporting strong coordination across agencies, ensuring that funding and evaluation frameworks reflect meaningful outcomes, and elevating the voices of community-based organizations that are already doing very effective work on the ground, particularly in communities that have historically been under-resourced. This commission has already built important momentum in expanding access to high-quality out-of-school time opportunities. I'm interested in helping sustain that progress while also strengthening communication, improving alignment with broader district goals, and ensuring OST programs remain responsive to the evolving needs of young people. I view service on this commission as both an honor and a responsibility. I bring a collaborative mindset, a willingness to listen, and a commitment to showing up prepared and engaged. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be considered, and I look forward to continuing to support the district's efforts to ensure every young person has access to safe, supportive, and enriching spaces beyond the school day. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Ekman. Janita Finley?
Good afternoon, Chairperson Mendelson and members of this committee. Thank you for holding today's hearing and for the opportunity to testify. I'm deeply grateful to Mayor Bowser for nominating me to serve on the Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes, and I'm honored to be considered for this role in service to the District of Columbia. Just a note, I'm losing my voice, so I am going to take you up on that offer to shorten it, so I will skip a couple of paragraphs, but you have the testimony. My name is Janita Finley, though my colleagues and friends call me Nita. I am a nonprofit manager, program designer, community-based workforce development leader who has spent the last several years building and scaling programs in a district that sit at the intersection of education, health, career readiness, and workforce development. I come from a family rooted in service. Both of my parents dedicated their lives to community work, and my father founded a nonprofit organization focused on improving educational, economic, workforce, and health outcomes for families and communities. Growing up in that environment shaped my understanding of leadership, not as a title, but as a responsibility to build structures that allow people, especially young people, to thrive. Academically, I hold a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and a Master of Science in Medical Sciences. Professionally, I have more than 6 years of experience leading a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which is called Compy Recycling Center, where I currently serve as managing partner. Through this role, I founded and lead Medical Ascension, a healthcare career readiness and workforce development initiative that has served more than 600 district youth since its inception in 2020. My work has been grounded in the District of Columbia. I've led partnerships with hospitals, universities, government agencies, and community organizations to design youth programs that combine academic enrichment, career exposure, leadership development, and real-world application. At the center of the work is the belief that out-of-school time should not simply fill hours, but should actively build skills, confidence, and future opportunity. As a provider of out-of-school time programs, if confirmed, my focus on the commission will be forward-looking, collaborative, and results-oriented. My vision for the commission is one where out-of-school time funding supports programs that are engaging, career-connected, and youth-centered, while also being accountable and data-informed. I believe the commission can play a critical role in ensuring that programs funded by the district not only meet compliance standards, but importantly demonstrate meaningful impact on youth development. One area that I'm particularly interested in advancing is the alignment between out-of-school time programming and career readiness. Youth are always asking for programs that feel relevant to their futures, programs that expose them to career skills and tangible pathways, increase participation, persistence, and long-term outcomes. I would also support strategies that strengthen youth leadership within programs. You should not only be participants, but contributors and leaders. Programs that empower young people to teach, mentor, and lead often see stronger engagement and broader community impact. Ultimately, my goal in this commission would be to help ensure that every dollar invested in out-of-school time programming moves the district closer to a future where young people are prepared, confident, and supported in reaching their full potential. Thank you again to the committee for this hearing and to the mayor for this nomination. I would be honored to serve on the Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes, and I am committed to contributing my experience, energy, and perspective in service to the youth and families of the District of Columbia. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I'm afraid to ask any questions since you said you're losing your voice, but it sounded pretty good to me. Thank you. Danielle Schmutz?
Good afternoon, Chairperson Mendelson, members of the committee, and staff. My name is Danielle Schmutz, and it is my pleasure to be considered to serve as a commissioner on the Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes. I am deeply grateful to Mayor Muriel E. Bowser for this nomination and honored by the opportunity to serve the residents of the District of Columbia in this role. I currently serve as the Executive Director of Beacon House, a community-based youth development organization in Ward 5 with a 35-year history of serving children, youth, and families. Beacon House provides year-round out-of-school time programming across education, athletics, mentoring, and youth development, serving hundreds of young people each year from early childhood through young adulthood. My professional background spans more than 15 years in nonprofit leadership, program design, and data-driven evaluation, with a focus on education, youth development, and community health. I rejoined Beacon House as Executive Director in 2024, returning to the organization where I previously served as Director of Programs and Operations from 2014 to 2019, supporting program development, organizational growth, and operational effectiveness. In the years in between, I held leadership roles at Surgo Health and Surgo Ventures, focused on translating public health data and research into practical, community-centered solutions. I hold a Master's of Social Work in Management and Policy from the University of Michigan and a bachelor's degree in Sociology and Child Development from Central Michigan University. My connection to the district, and specifically to Ward 5, is both professional and personal. I have spent over a decade living and working in Northeast DC alongside families, schools, and community partners, and I have seen firsthand how consistent, high-quality out-of-school time programs can be a stabilizing force in young people's lives. I have also seen how fragile these systems can be without sustained investment, coordination, and thoughtful oversight. My interest in serving on the Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes comes directly from my day-to-day work and experience leading an OST organization on the ground. Out-of-school time is not a supplemental nice to have. These programs are foundational. For many families, OST programs are where children receive academic support, mentorship, meals, physical activity, and a sense of belonging that may not exist elsewhere. I am passionate about ensuring that district investments in OST are not only well-intentioned, but well-designed, equitable, and impactful. Over the past year, I have also served on the Commission's Coordination and Collaboration Committee, where I've worked with fellow members to identify priorities for building a more connected and coordinated out-of-school time system across the district. That experience has deepened my understanding of both the promise and complexity of aligning OST funding, providers, and outcomes across agencies and neighborhoods, and reinforced the importance of intentional system design, not just strong individual programs. I believe I'm a strong fit for this role because I bring both operational insight and strategic perspective. I can help the Commission ask practical questions about what funding structures enable or unintentionally hinder quality, access, and sustainability. I can also help elevate the voices of providers and families who experience these systems every day, ensuring that policy decisions reflect lived realities. If confirmed, my vision for the Commission is to help strengthen out-of-school time systems as a coherent citywide ecosystem, one that prioritizes quality, equity, and measurable outcomes while remaining responsive to community context. In particular, I am committed to ensuring that the Commission's work keeps youth outcomes, academic, social-emotional, and long-term well-being at the center of funding decisions and system design. First, I would focus on aligning funding with outcomes that matter most to youth and families. This includes academic engagement, social-emotional development, physical and mental health, and long-term stability. Outcomes should reflect not only test scores or attendance, but the protective factors that OST programs build: relationships, confidence, and connection. Second, I would work to ensure that grant-making processes are accessible and supportive of community-based organizations, particularly those that are deeply rooted in neighborhoods most impacted by inequity. This means examining application processes, reporting requirements, and technical assistance structures to ensure they support quality rather than create unnecessary barriers. Third, I am interested in helping the Commission strengthen data use for learning, not just for compliance. Data should help programs improve practice, identify gaps, and tell a full story of impact without overburdening providers. Building on the work already underway through the Commission's Coordination and Collaboration Committee and the OST Commission as a whole, I would continue to advance strategies that strengthen cross-agency alignment, support provider collaboration, and ensure that OST investments function as a coherent system rather than a collection of disconnected programs. The district already has a strong network of OST providers and a clear commitment to youth outcomes. My goal would be to help sustain that momentum while encouraging thoughtful innovation and deeper alignment with broader district priorities around education, public safety, and community well-being. Finally, I see this Commission as an opportunity to reinforce a simple but powerful truth. When we invest in young people outside of school hours, we are investing in protective supports, opportunity, and the long-term health of our city. Thank you, Chairperson Mendelson, for the opportunity to testify before the committee. I appreciate your time and consideration and would be happy to respond to any questions from you and members of the committee.
Thank you. And Ms. Schmutz, you're not on the commission, but you're on one of the committees.
Exactly.
So you have a sense of the time and the work involved.
I do.
And I'll ask you about that in a minute. Ricardo Cooper.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the committee. I am Ricardo Cooper, and it is my pleasure to receive your consideration for my nomination to serve as a commissioner for the district's out-of-school time grants and youth outcomes. I am grateful to Mayor Bowser for nominating me and honored to have this opportunity to serve the residents of our district. I am humbled to be before you today to provide background and context about how my qualifications and experience aligns with the mission of the commission. Born and raised in a district, I know what it's like to come home from school, do your homework, and immediately run to the neighborhood recreation center to learn how to draw or participate in theater groups. For me, that was Kenilworth Recreation Center way back in the day. The positive impact of out-of-school time programs back when I was a youth is why I am here today. I currently serve as the Executive Director of Resources to Inspire Students and Educators here in Washington, D.C., where my work is focused on expanding access to high-quality educational and enrichment opportunities for young people, particularly those from historically underserved communities. In this role, I work directly with students, families, educators, and community partners, and I also navigate the realities of program design, grant compliance, data reporting, and long-term sustainability. As an out-of-school time provider and a current member of the Strategic Planning Committee with Learn24 and the Governance Committee, where I help develop detailed policies to provide guidance to providers implementing OST programming throughout the district, I see firsthand the challenges that organizations face within this network and the tremendous work that is also been done. Through this work, I have seen how participation in out-of-school time programs is often the difference between students simply getting by and students truly thriving. For many DC youth, OST programs provide not only academic support, but also safe spaces, trusted mentors, exposure to new experiences, and opportunities to build confidence and leadership skills. These programs play a critical role in shaping youth outcomes long after the school day ends. For many of our youth, especially from low-income communities, OST programs are not extracurricular, they are essential. My experience in the nonprofit sector and background in the educational field has given me a practical understanding of how funding decisions impact programs on the ground. I understand the importance of accountability and measurable outcomes and recognize the meaningful youth development cannot always be captured by numbers alone. I am passionate about helping youth achieve outcomes that reflect real success, not just attendance numbers, but also, like many of the fellow nominees mentioned, social emotional growth, a sense of belonging, academic confidence, which is super important, improved mental health, and meaningful pathways to college, career, and civic engagement. My work as a youth advocate is grounded in listening to young people and elevating their voices in systems that often make decisions without their input. I would carry that same commitment in this role, ensuring that youth outcomes remain central to policy, funding, and oversight discussions. As a commissioner, I will bring a balanced perspective that combines data-informed decision-making with the deep respect of community-based organizations and the lived experiences of DC youth. I am particularly committed to advancing equity in OST funding, ensuring that resources reach communities with the greatest needs, supporting culturally responsive programming across the district, and strengthening the capacity of our programs so that they can sustain impact over time. Additionally, I will bring a collaborative and systems-oriented mindset to the commission. OST programs do not operate in isolation. They intersect with schools, families, workforce development efforts, and broader social services. I believe commissioners play an important role in strengthening coordination across agencies and sectors, reducing duplication, and ensuring that investments in youth are aligned with the broader district goals for education, health, and economic mobility. It would be an honor to serve the district in this capacity. Serving as a commissioner would be meaningful extension of my professional and personal commitment to DC's youth. I am prepared to bring my experience as a nonprofit leader, my understanding of grant funding systems, and my dedication to youth-centered decision-making to this role. I take seriously the responsibility of ensuring that public resources are used effectively, equitably, and in ways that truly improve youth outcomes. I am prepared to contribute my experience, my judgment, and my dedication to ensuring that our investments in out-of-school time programming truly reflect our commitment to DC's youth. Thank you, Chairman Mendelson and the committee, for the opportunity to testify before you. I would be happy to answer any questions at this time. Thank you. And just to anticipate your question, Chairman Mendelson, I am on the governance committee, but I'm not on the commission. I just serve on the committee.
Okay, but so you have a sense of the work
Yes, sir.
and the time. So maybe I'll just start with you. Do you have, understanding the time to serve, and you all were in the room when I asked the previous group,
Mhm.
and that was after a couple of members of the commission spoke of roughly 4 hours to 6 hours a month. So, Mr. Cooper, you have the time to serve and the commitment to serve?
Yes, I do have the time to serve, and I am committed to serve.
And Ms. Schmutz?
Yes, I do.
And Ms. Finley?
Yes, I do.
And Mr. Ekman?
Yes, I do.
And Mr. Treviso?
Yes.
Travieso.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. The other question I'm going to ask is whether you're current, or if you have any outstanding liability for taxes, fees, or other payments to the district, federal, or other state or local governments. I include within that if you have like a payment plan or anything you're working out, then you're current, as long as you're following that plan. So, the same order as before. Mr. Cooper, are you current?
Yes.
And Ms. Schmutz?
Yes.
And Ms. Finley?
Yes.
And Mr. Ekman?
Yes.
And Mr. Travioso?
Yes.
I think the only other question I would ask, because we talked with the other panel and you heard about conflicts of interest, I don't really see them. You understand that if there were to be one that would arise or you think might be, then you disclose it, you talk to staff and decide whether you should need to recuse yourself. So several of you have participated on committees, so you see the commission. Do you want to do you see any challenges that need to be addressed? Or maybe I should put that differently. What challenges do you see with the commission? Do I want to start with somebody? Sure, Ms. Schmutz?
Sure. I think that earlier, those who spoke alluded well that it had been represented over the past year, but I think it's very clear that the commission has worked really hard to address that, especially with all of us up for nomination and having had experience across different subcommittees. So I think that's a challenge that has been addressed, and I've seen that the commissioners, those on the committees, and the staff at Learn 24 work really well together.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes, just to piggyback, I would agree. I think that it comes down to having the appropriate or the right people in place to support the commission's efforts. And I think that over time, as I've served on the governance committee for coming up almost to a year, we have increased membership on the committee. And I think that the commission has done, and Learn 24 has done an amazing job with recruiting talented individuals with multiple experiences and backgrounds to support their mission to move the commission forward.
Anyone else want to volunteer if you have any comments on challenges? Mr. Travioso?
Sure. So one of the things that I've noticed being involved in the Outcomes and Needs Assessment Committee is the push by the OST to include diversity, and especially a reflection of the diversity of the commission along with the diversity of the city. And so trying to bring in other perspective from other folks who work with different groups in the city to try to bring in those perspectives and how those decisions in the OST would affect those different people in the community, and taking into account things such as language, cultural differences, things like that. Those I see those are initiatives and intentions that the OST wants to make sure that they address and try to make it more consistent in the future.
Great. Give me just a second. Anything else? Any of you want to volunteer? Thank you all for being here in person. I didn't say this to the previous group, who, by the way, have all abandoned you. But to thank you for your willingness to serve. It's important, this is an important commission, so just thank you for that. I'm going to close out the hearing. The record, as I indicated before, is open for 2 weeks, and that means it closes at 5 p.m. on Friday, January 30th, 2026. The time is 3:29 p.m. and this roundtable is